Gemini moves through the world like quicksilver, bright, responsive, and alive with thought, yet anchored by a steady will that refuses to be confined. The first impression is delight, an easy smile, a voice that turns ordinary minutes into lively scenes, a presence that makes rooms feel wider and lighter. But the fuller truth is keener. Beneath the friendly cadence lives a mind mapping patterns like constellations, and a heart that does not forget a promise once given. Kindness is their native tongue. Clarity is their last line of defense. Push too hard, and the same breeze that carried you forward becomes the current that carries you away. Irresistible social magnetism is the first reason people orbit Gemini. The charm isn't an act. It is curiosity meeting the choreography of language. They feel the subtle weight of a sentence, notice the shift in posture, catch the wobble in a tone, and answer with humor or warmth so precise that everyone feels seen. Yet charm is not a costume. It's a blade housed in velvet. Cross a boundary and the velvet slips. Timing sharpens, words land with exactness, and the person who once made you laugh can slice straight to the truth you tried to hide. Their brightness is a lighthouse, guiding, yes, but also capable of illuminating what others hope to keep in shadow. Curiosity that listens and learns crowns the second reason. What makes Gemini beloved is the purity of their interest. They ask because they care. They listen because the world fascinates them. The same attention that nurtures friendships can reconfigure in an instant if deception is sensed. Then curiosity becomes analysis, an inventory of motives, a cross-check of inconsistencies, a quiet assessment that ends the game without noise. Cultivate the honesty they offer, and you receive the gentlest, most attentive ally. Play games, and you will meet the strategist behind the smile. If these lines already sound like a mirror, breathe and stay close. And if you feel the resonance, subscribe to Astro Gemini so these insights continue arriving exactly when you need them. This sanctuary was made with your sky in mind. Quick wit with sacred precision follows. Gemini humor is a bridge across differences. They improvise connection in real time, turning tension into laughter. But wit is also a needle. When provoked, its stitch closes the openings where manipulation once slipped through. The confetti of their jokes becomes crystal clear observation. It is not cruelty. It is medicine with an edge, antiseptic poured through a sentence. Adaptability with a backbone is their quiet superpower. Gemini glides between worlds the way wind moves through leaves. They're bilingual in moods, cultures, and ideas, adjusting without losing essence. Yet flexibility is not surrender. Betray their trust and flexibility becomes form. Boundaries appear with the elegance of a geometer's line, swift, exact, impersonal. The door that once swung open easily now requires a key you no longer hold. A loyal heart with protective fire comes next. When Geminis care about you, they invest time, thought, relentless encouragement. Their loyalty runs ahead into your future, carrying visions of who you could be. But loyalty is also a contract. Break it, and the same energy that sheltered you reorients toward guarding the self. Contact becomes courteous, then rare. What looks like coldness is simply a soul closing its gates to protect the sacred garden within. The tender art of listening is reason number 15. Gemini remembers the detail everyone else forgets. The book you loved at 12, the way your voice trembles when you're almost honest. They arrange those details like a private map designed to comfort you when the night grows long. But when the bridge of trust is burned, the map folds away. Emotionally, they can go grayscale, not cruel, just distant, a radio tuned to static. Silence becomes self-respect with a dignified face. An open mind with zero tolerance for falsehood frames the next insight. Tell a Gemini the strangest truth and they will nod. Test the angles and often accept it. But lie and the temperature drops. Their openness is a sanctuary for authenticity, not a playground for deceit. Integrity is their north. Violate it and kindness is replaced by unsmiling clarity. Expressive spirit with a composed surface follows. Gemini shows feeling in color, joy bright as noon, grief honest as rain. Yet under attack the storm settles behind glass. The calm is real, the discipline of air, cool, transparent, capable of holding thunder without spilling a drop. That composure buys time to choose the most ethical response, which is so often the most effective one. Luminous energy that can flash to flame arrives next. Gemini enters with sparkle, animating dull afternoons and making plans seem possible. But cross a boundary and radiance becomes a flare. Not chaos, focused heat, the cauterizing fire that seals a wound. Those who only knew their sunlight sometimes mistake that flare for malice. It isn't. It's what self-protection looks like when carried by a brilliant mind. Encouragers with edges complete this opening movement. No one champions your dreams like a Gemini. They send links at 2 a.m., voice notes full of strategy and the precise sentence you needed to keep going. Still, their support isn't yours to exploit. Disrespect their time or values, and you'll feel the boundaries snap into place with musical exactness. Warmth never excluded consequence. With Gemini, it never has. The sacred double is misunderstood by many. People speak of two sides as if they were opposites. The truth is finer, two complementary instruments tuned to the same song. One engages, adapts, expands. The other protects, simplifies, refuses. When they're hurt, the protective instrument leads, and the melody changes from welcome to discernment. That pivot is not fickle. It is wisdom arriving exactly on time. Intelligence that charms and disarms powers the next truth. Conversation with a Gemini can feel like flight. Ideas breathe, imagination lifts, and the air tastes like possibility. But intelligence is a tool, not a trick. If someone moves against them, the tool becomes a shield. They outline the logic of what's happening, document the pattern, and take elegant action. Volume isn't required when coherence is present, and coherence wins. Kindness with variability is another of their native rhythms. Gemini generosity runs in bright currents, sometimes overflowing, sometimes pulling back to replenish. If they withdraw after being crossed, know the ocean is still there. The tide has simply changed. Their love is seasonal because their energy is honest. Spring returns for those who meet the season with truth. Warm hands. Winter, this is the paradox of their devotion. When treated well, they love lavishly. Long talks, impulsive road trips, playlists that know your heartbeat. But betrayal is a frost that falls fast. Ice forms over once open water. The bridge of laughter freezes. This isn't revenge. It's the weather of self-preservation. Only patience, proof, and changed behavior can invite the thaw. Memory as ledger and lighthouse follows. Gemini catalogs experience with tender accuracy. They remember the soup you made when they were sick and the way you minimized their feelings last spring. If they choose accountability, they do it with grace and patience, waiting until action matters. Their payback is rarely public. It's private balance restored with clean hands. Velocity in service of love and defense explains their quick turns. A joke at the right moment saves the day. A decision at the right moment saves the self. They pivot from play to protection, like a dancer changing direction on the beat. Delay is often the enemy of truth, so they move lightly when they can and decisively when they must. Conversational mastery, medicine or blade, is a craft they carry. Gemini can braid stories, questions, and insights into a rope strong enough to pull someone out of darkness. But rope can also tie off a door that must remain closed. When disrespected, their language grows exact and spare. Verbs do the work, adjectives go home. They say only what is necessary, and the room understands. If you're feeling the alignment, tap like. Let that little signal tell the algorithm that this is medicine worth spreading to those who need it. A high-voltage protective circuit runs beneath everything. Gemini moves on currents that rarely settle. When safe, the energy becomes play, invention, glow. When threatened, the circuit rewires toward defense. Restlessness becomes scouting, intensity becomes shield, focus becomes plan. To those who assumed endless softness, it can look dangerous. It is not danger. It is power guided by conscience. Honesty as north, Confrontation without flinching is essential. They do not worship politeness when truth is required. They cherish clean talk, straight lines, stated needs, and consequences honored. If a difficult conversation is the only door forward, they walk through first. Their words can sting because they carry antiseptic. The wound hurts now, so it will not fester later. Guardianship that does not tire crowns the arc of these reasons. Above all, Gemini protects what they love: people, projects, principles. They will research, advocate, show up, and outthink the storm. Do not confuse laughter with lack of resolve. When the hour is late and the stakes are high, they are still there, arranging solutions like stars into a map that can be followed in the dark. Let's walk the spiral again, deeper, because the very qualities that make Gemini the kindest also forge their calibrated ferocity when necessary. The duality isn't contradiction, it's calibration. Air can cradle a candle or feed a wildfire. The difference is intention. Magnetism becomes mirror. When Gemini's charm turns serious, it reflects people back to themselves. Approach with respect and you'll feel affirmed. Bring manipulation and you'll meet your own tangle, suddenly visible. That's why some call them dangerous, not because they harm, but because they reveal. Curiosity becomes pattern recognition. Their questions are soft. Their synthesis is steel. A half-truth is a loose thread. They tug gently until the whole fabric comes free, not to embarrass, but to end the game. In love, that discernment protects intimacy. In conflict, it safeguards sanity. Wit becomes boundary. A well-placed line can diffuse a bully or close an argument. No sounds different in Gemini's mouth: clean, final, oddly kind. The kindness is for both of you. It spares you from long damage and spares them from long resentment. Adaptability becomes agency. They fit into rooms but not into cages. When the moment demands it, they redraw their role and rewrite the rules they live by. That's why they are rarely trapped by the same tactic twice. The doorway they walked through yesterday may be a wall today, and that wall bears their signature. Loyalty becomes lineage. To be loved by Gemini is to be gathered into a living archive. Songs, inside jokes, anniversaries of small miracles. Break faith and the archive closes. They will not burn it. They shelve it, label it, keep it safe from harm, including harm from you. Listening becomes discernment. Because they attend so closely, they spot the quiet gap between what someone says and what their breath admits. They don't punish that gap, they name it. If naming is unwelcome, they disengage. Silence is the final boundary of the wise. Openness becomes contract. Tell me your truth also means I expect truth in return. Gemini keeps receipts not to win, but to stay real. Authenticity is their favorite weather. If you bring fog, they wait for sun or leave to find it. Expression becomes regulation. Narrating feeling keeps storms from becoming floods. When threatened, narration pauses and action begins. That pivot is self-command learned the hard way and honored like a right. Light becomes lightning. The joyful current that powers their creativity is the same electricity that powers their alarms. Underestimate Gemini, and you do so at your own peril. Their range isn't moodiness, it's capability. Encouragement becomes expectation. They pour belief into you, but not into a broken bucket forever. Mock the effort or treat their time as disposable, and the contract ends without spectacle. Ending is also a kind of love of truth. The double becomes design, two facets, one diamond. The playful facet gathers, the protective facet filters. Together they produce clarity, sustainable clarity that makes life safer and more luminous. Intellect becomes ethics. Brightness without conscience is a trick. Gemini refuses tricks. They argue fairly, cite the source, change their mind when evidence changes. If you tried to win with noise, you lost before you began. Variability becomes rhythm. Their flow cycles like the moon. Don't take the ebb personally, and you'll ride the tide to a shoreline you couldn't reach alone. Demand constant summer, and you'll miss their incandescent spring. If this journey has meaning for you, hit like once more, so the current carries this message farther. Warmth becomes standard. They offer affection like sunlight through a window. Break the window and the blinds come down. You may still feel warmth, It simply won't be meant for you. Memory becomes map. They chart where trust thrives and where it dies. It saves them from repeating history, and it can save you too if you listen. Speed becomes sovereignty. They choose swiftly because life is short and clarity is mercy. The decision you assumed they'd postpone arrives with timestamp and rationale. You may disagree. You will not doubt it was considered. Language becomes leverage. With the right sentence, they can lift a heavy problem. With the right sentence, they can set a heavy boundary. That's not manipulation. It is mastery. Voltage becomes vow. Energy is a promise for Gemini. I will bring life to what I love. If harm approaches that thing, the vow expands into a shield. Honesty becomes home. They live where the air is clear. If you can't breathe there, they won't force you, but they won't abandon their home to sit indefinitely in smoke. Guardianship becomes grace. Their protection isn't about winning. It's about keeping sacred things intact. They will choose the smallest door that leads to peace and the straightest road that leads to justice. And because this community is a constellation of stories, add your star to ours. Share your date of birth and your zodiac sign in the comments so we can greet your sky by name and tune future messages to the frequencies you carry. For the Geminis reading this, you are not too much. You are the right measure of sky in a world that sometimes forgets to look up. Your grace is not compliance. Your quiet is not defeat. Your laughter is both strategy and sacrament. Your boundaries are love turned inward, so it can be offered outward without self-betrayal. Protect your time. Edit your circle. Keep a pen by the bed for the ideas that arrive when the universe whispers. Be the wind that lifts and the boundary that holds. For those who love a Gemini, meet them where the air tastes honest. Say the simple thing you mean the simple thing you say. Celebrate the agile mind. Hold space for the many rooms. If they pull away, respect the tide. If they lean in fully, not to own, but to witness. You will learn faster with them, laugh deeper with them, and be asked to grow. Accept the invitation, and the path will widen beneath your feet. All the reasons braid back into one. Gemini is generous first, protective second, relentless always, relentless in seeking clarity, in defending dignity, in keeping the conversation with life alive. They are the friend who brings light and the advocate who brings law, the breeze on a hot day and the wind that refuses to let a fire devour the forest. Twin roads meet at integrity, and nothing here is contradiction. Everything here is coherence. Carry this with you and remember to like this video if your spirit recognized itself inside these lines. Let that small gesture tell the current to carry this further to those who need it today. And when you feel the alignment, subscribe to Astro Gemini so the next message finds you right on time, the way Gemini always arrives. Swiftly, precisely, almost magically. If you want more, stay with us until the credits and beyond. Your presence here helps the constellation grow brighter. Gemini is both invitation and instruction. Live vividly, speak truth, move clean. Love without abandoning yourself. Offer warmth as a default and consequence as a promise. Keep the mind bright and the heart braver than memory. When the world asks you to be smaller, smile the smile that says the horizon is non-negotiable. Like the video if this settled into your bones. Subscribe to Astro Gemini so these teachings keep flowing when the hour calls. And before you wander to the next moment, thread your story into ours. Write your date of birth and your zodiac sign below so we can read your sky with you. If you want to hear everything the universe has to say to you, watch these other videos on our channel.